So, yesterday, did something happen? Did something happen yesterday?
Yes, it was Martin Luther King Day.
Yes. Well, in addition to Martin Luther King Day, a certain person, Donald Trump, was sworn back into the White House as the 47th president. Now, high-profile Democrats were in attendance along with Republican officials who all sat behind big tech oligarchs with the best seats in the House. Yeah. Trump gave a preview of what we're in for the next 4 years.
There was an oligarchs when Biden was in office. Yeah, it was an oligarchs when Biden was calling Facebook, and this has been confirmed by Zuckerberg himself, the CEO, that, hey, you need to take this down. Yeah. Correct information that was true. But now they're oligarchs because Trump's in office, and man, come on.
Take a look.
My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. We will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be.
So if he's sending all the criminals away, where is he going? And what better way to unify
Greenland.
the country than by ripping families apart and punishing anyone who doesn't fall in line? So,
If I break the law, crazy mischaracterization. Yeah, if I break the law, well, I'm going to jail, breaking up my family. Yeah, but whose fault is that? Yours. It's my fault. When you break the law, you're going to be separated from your family. That's nobody's fault but the person committing the crime.
I watched the whole thing because I have a certain masochistic streak in me.
You do.
What about the rest of you?
Yeah, I watched it. Just the speech part. A lot of the revelry, it was hard because this is not someone I voted for, so I did not feel like sitting around and watching it. But the speech itself, I remember when it was done, my first reaction was, you know, what is this country he speaks of? Because I immediately couldn't reconcile the way I see the country and the people and how it is right now and where he saw it. It was, he didn't say carnage, but he said carnage pretty much in everything else. You remember the reference from his first inauguration when he said carnage. I just kind of felt this dark feeling. And then he had this kind of martyr-like, you guys are downtrodden and almost irreparable. You can't save this place, but I can. And it had this godlike complex without any Jesus qualities. It was kind of like a juxtaposition. But
well, that's how we see him, because people like you are destroying this country. Yeah, I mean, the words he chose would be better suited for organizations like Black Lives Matter, exactly, or the LGBTQ community. Right. Why would you say that about Donald Trump, though?
I was really disappointed, not surprised, just to be clear, but disappointed that there wasn't one kind thing to say about the outgoing administration. Because even...
Au contraire, he was merciless to the outgoing.
That's my point. That's my point. Even if you find it really hard, there could have been... They spent the morning together. They had a welcome tea. President Biden and Vice President Harris did everything we all criticized Donald Trump throughout the door. They did all the traditions of handing off the baton. And he couldn't even muster up one small thing to say, thank you for kindly welcoming us back or something.
I mean, is this woman in a different reality? Y'all persecuted this guy. Yeah, 34 felons, $100 million lawsuit for sexual abuse that occurred some 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, he weaponized the Justice Department, had his house raided. And y'all want him to show mercy for Joe Biden? Called him Hitler. She says a lot of good stuff, but then she just goes right off the rails. She's an intelligent woman. Her and that other white girl, they're both intelligent women. It's just that they're women and they They put compassion above everything. Logic. And it clouds their logic. But you want Trump to be nice and friendly to Biden when
Merciless.
they've done all these things to Trump, his family. January 6th, you freaking persecute them and they're in jail because they're Trump supporters.
Yeah.
How many people went to jail during the Summer of Love for Black Lives Matter?
Very few people that so-called insurrection, very few people were bad apples.
Yeah, how about they burned down police stations in Seattle? Mm-hmm. They took over areas in certain cities and called them, forget what they called them.
Yeah. In Seattle, they blocked off and they claimed it to be their own city, which is actually an insurrection.
Yeah, people was taking over parts of cities in America and calling them like new cities and kicking the police out.
Yeah.
How many
people actually died because of that?
Nuts.
It was a kind of a gut punch of sorts.
Well, that's not who he is, right? I mean, he's not a statesman. That's not who he is. And I decided to protect my peace and celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day yesterday. So,
see how petty and childish these women are?
He even brought up Martin Luther King.
If you
out of respect, right? He brought up Martin Luther King. He said he's going to continue his vision to judge people by the content of their character. That's what he wanted.
Right.
He referenced that in his speech.
Yeah.
But he's not a statesman.
These lady,
they're statesmen. Y'all statesmen.
yeah. I did not watch the inauguration. My sorority sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated had a service day in Harlem yesterday, and I enjoyed that. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
No, she didn't. Her and her husband was at the attorney's office. How can we beat these charges? That's what she was at. That's what she was worried about.
And watched Notre Dame, unfortunately, not be victorious, but I went with a bunch of my law school buddies, and we ate wings. And thank you, Tony, who's the manager there, for making me feel good.
How can you go to law school and still be this stupid? Yeah, because you have to have a logical mind. You have to. A majority of the law is based on philosophy and logic. Yeah. How do you go to law school and you still are not smart? The LSAT, it's like the test you have to take to get into law school. It's like a test on your critical thinking and logic.
Right.
If you get a poor LSAT score, colleges will not accept you. What law school did you go to?
Yeah.
Or you know what it is? She's a logical person when it's outside of politics.
Right.
That's what. But when it comes to politics, she doesn't use logic. She
becomes an activist.
Yeah. She uses her compassion, her feelings.
The one thing that I did think about was the hypocrisy of having a man be inaugurated to be president on the same day as we commemorate MLK.
Well, there's no hypocrisy. It just fell Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
Fell on the inauguration.
Should he move his inauguration up a day or before the Martin Luther King Day?
No, we're not doing that. We've been waiting long enough.
Yeah, we've waited 4 years.
And that same man saying that he was going to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The irony of it.
The irony of it, because Martin Luther King not only wanted racial equality, he wanted economic equality.
Yeah.
And that
He said based on the content of your character, he was for people's merits, not simply because of your skin color. Y'all want people to work at a job or get hired for a job based on the color of their skin.
Yeah, just like the Supreme Court Justice.
Yeah.
Ketanji?
Yeah, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who they say he appointed her because she's black. No, he appointed her because of her politics. She's an activist. She's not a judge. She's going to do everything out of her power to do anything to avoid the Constitution.
Yeah, and what Biden actually did, he exploited her skin color.
Yeah,
made her a token to keep women like these ladies and black women voting a certain way. You people are being taken advantage of, and you don't even realize it.
I mean, you can't have an ounce of integrity in your body when you bring up the word hypocrisy and you use it for.
That is something that people tend to miss. And I want to remind people that he said that Black Americans deserved reparations for the injustices they faced. He argued that reparations were a form of justice, in fact, not charity. And he said, quote, "It's all right to tell a man to lift himself by his own bootstraps, but it is cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps."
Yeah.
When did Martin Luther King say that? In the 1960s? What year we in? It's 2020. It's 2025. It's been 65 years. Look, that man has been dead for 60 years. Yeah, it's kind of missing some context because when he said it was a different time. But I want to say this. You can give every black person in this country $2.5 million. They'll be broke within 5 years. They will have nothing to their name because even though their bank account changed, the knowledge that they carry has not changed. You're not going to be able to maintain that $1 million. Giving black men, black women, or any group of people reparations for something that happened 400 or 500 years ago, a monetary stipend or whatever you want to call it, it's not going to fix the solution. It's not going to fix the problem. Yeah. It's going to be a short-term solution at best. Yeah, it's going to make things. You think inflation is a problem now? Yeah. That would probably be in the quadrillions. Hey, man, I want to hear the other white girl talk. The other white girl disappointed me today. I keep forgetting her names. Why? The other white girl's Alyssa. Yeah, Alyssa. Hopefully she.
And so, in thinking about that, and Donald Trump saying things that this country would be a meritocracy, you're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit.
What?
He hasn't had no political experience whatsoever. He had no business experience. He was given everything that he has. He inherited hundreds of millions of dollars from his dad, but he turned those into billions. Yeah, he didn't inherit hundreds of millions of dollars. How much was it? He inherited a lot from his dad, but Trump turned his dad's success into an empire for his entire family. Yeah, just because you inherit money doesn't mean you got to be able to maintain. You got to have a brain. You got to be able to build upon it. Yeah, perfect example. Joe Biden's son. Yeah, he's a crackhead. No, see, what these people do is misrepresent people. Yeah. To disparage them. Gaslight. Yeah. Is a legacy hire. He is, if anything, a DEI hire, a didn't earn it hire. And so, those were just some of the things that I was thinking about.
So I watched it. I always watched the inauguration. I was covering it for CNN as well. But I was watching and thinking it's time to retire the phrase normalizing Donald Trump. Donald Trump is normalized, whether you like it or not. 75 million people voted for him. He is now as much a part of American history as George Bush, Barack Obama, and any other two-term president. Yep. And I was shocked by the imagery of he left 4 years ago in disgrace. He left, barely anyone showed up when he announced his reelection 2 years ago. And now he came back to D.C. like a conquering king. He had the biggest titans of industry there. He had celebrities. He had fashion designers. He had Democrats and every former president there. And I think that it's a moment to take note of why he won and the reasons that he did, but also Democrats are not a footnote in this. They had 4 years to beat him. They had the chance to make a case against him. 4 years ago, they had the White House, the House, the Senate, and Silicon Valley. Now they have none of those above. My posture is this. You guys know my criticisms of Donald Trump. They remain. I'm going to pray for the president. Yeah. I'm going to thank him when he does things that are good, like the hostage deal. I commend him. I am grateful for that. And I'm going to call it out when he does things that are reckless and dangerous. Getting the Israeli hostages and American hostages. And I'm going to call it out when he does things that are...
You're talking about Trump now?
Yes, that are...
I thought it was Biden who's been negotiating.
Both worked together.
But... Okay, this conflict... Oh my God, what's wrong with these people? This conflict in Israel started when Biden was in office. Didn't happen when Trump was in office. But by coincidence, days before Trump takes power, now there's a resolution to the problem out there. It's a ceasefire. And they've been at war for what, the last 2 years? Something like that? Yeah, it's been a while. It's been going on years. But before you start the video, what's the bird brain in the yellow? Her husband's allegedly a criminal. I'm bad at names, man. I know Alyssa because she's the smartest one on there. I mean, they do it to Trump all the time. They don't call him by his name or say a president. Just call her the Puerto Rican. Yeah, I'm going to call her the Puerto Rican one. I'm going to call her the person of color on here, right? She said Trump is a DEI. I tell you someone who is a DEI. Kamala Harris. Nobody voted for her. Yeah. You know who else is a DEI? The Puerto Rican on this show. The only reason why you're on this show is because of your physical attributes, your race. Not because of your brain. That's why you're on the show.
Nation. Well, and finally, and I'm going to call it out when he does something that I think is dangerous and reckless, like we're going to get to pardoning dangerous January 6th.
Yeah.
Well, I have.
Oh, come on. Hey, Big Chief, I agree with. You know what? Wait a minute. We're not going to agree on everything, but I agree with 95% of what she said. At least we have some ground to stand on.
Kevin, who was dangerous during January 6th?
There was some violent people there.
Okay, there was breaking windows.
That's violent.
Okay, that's violence. Okay, so the only why they were pursued because they were Trump supporters. How many of those people were arrested during the riots for the guy that OD'd?
During the summer of 2021.
Right? How many of them were prosecuted?
I don't think hardly any.
Didn't Kamala go get money to bail those people out?
That's what they say. I haven't fact checked it, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was true.
They've already been there long enough for what they did.
Right.
How many people have been released out of jail? I'm talking about violent black criminals that went out and did crazy stuff up in New York City.
Black Lives Matter and stuff.
Where
like
was
that.
this energy then from these ladies?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, the people that's being pardoned, they've all served a lot of time in jail.
Yeah.
So they didn't get away with the crime that they committed. Majority of those people being politically persecuted, the ones that was violent, they didn't get off scot-free. They've been in jail for a long time.
Yeah.
And some of these people, like the guy with the shaman who went to the House of Representatives,
Yeah, but some
and he
people-
prayed, they sentenced him to 15 years. He was escorted by the police, and he said a prayer.
And he was not violent at all. That's why I see this whole January 6th committee, they were biased and it was political persecution because of who they voted for. So all of them need to be released.
That's why he pardoned, gave them a preemptive pardon. Everybody in the January 6th committee.
That's why I don't like
everybody who persecuted.
That's why I don't like what Alyssa said.
Yeah.
I understand you on the show, Alyssa, and you gotta, you gotta
give them something.
You gotta give them something. You gotta give them something, but hey,
but 98%.
You can't give them nothing. You ain't got nothing.
Hey, keeper, you know what? You can reason with her. You can have a dope conversation with her.
Hey, Kevin, these other women, she still didn't vote for Trump.
Why?
I guess she don't want to get fired from
You
the
think
show.
she's lying?
Maybe she did vote for him, and she just saying it to be on the show.
Because how you can sound like this, sound so smart, intelligent.
Yeah. Maybe she did vote for him.
She had to, but why would you vote for Joe Biden? It don't make no sense.
Or Kamala Harris.
I have to say, I was in Guatemala. I was there for a funeral, which reminded me of how frail life is, and not to waste time on doing things that bring you
and life is just by looking at this show.
no joy and make you infuriated, like watching her swearing in.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch a single second of it. I did read the speech, and I read a lot about it, and I saw pictures. And when I was reading the speeches, I was coming back. First of all, I'm going to pray for America. I'm also going to say, he calls himself a peacemaker. He wants to invade Panama, people. Panama is our ally. They haven't done a damn thing. Everything he is saying about Panama, and it struck me because I was in the region. Okay, that region is full of crazy people who don't like the United States, like Cuba, like Nicaragua, like Venezuela. The country of Panama is our longest, strongest ally in that
just like Israel,
region. Everything he is saying about the Chinese running the Panama Canal is a lie. It is run by the Panama Canal Authority.
I haven't did any of my research on this.
Yeah, but I would believe Trump over you any day.
By default, because you constantly lie. I've not heard you make an honest take on anything.
I haven't did research on it too, but from what I heard, Panama is broken a treaty that we signed into law, and they're taking advantage of America, and Trump wants to stop that. That's the gist of what Trump is coming from. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. She's talking about invading Panama.
So that brought back that he is a liar in chief. That brought back that he's not going to be a peacemaker. I mean, this guy is already in verbal war with Canada, Greenland, Denmark. By the way, they want to take over Canada and Greenland. He can't even stand.
I can't talk. I can't listen to this. He
You can
misrepresents
call him a
everything.
peacemaker, but 2 days before he got in office. You can call him a peacemaker when he was in office. We had no wars. 2 days before he takes power, there's a ceasefire in Israel.
Yeah.
How can you not call him a peacemaker?
Yeah. Man, my heart is beating hard.
I get anxiety listening to stuff like this. It's like these people are gaslighting, and the audience is cheering them on like, I don't know, like at that show they hold up signs, applaud, please applaud everybody.
We've been
like
on
they're
shows like
puppets.
this. Yeah.
yeah, they hold up signs, applaud, applaud.
We went on a Chicago shows years ago, it was in Chicago, and it was a show very reminiscent of this show. And at times you would see like flashing, telling the crowd to laugh and applaud and stuff. It's like they're puppets out in the crowd. These ladies are idiots, and
Except for Alyssa.
yeah, Alyssa's
Alyssa, man,
Alyssa's
Alyssa's all
a
right.
good girl, ain't she?
Yeah, Alyssa's all right.
Alyssa's a good girl.
I don't think you should call her a good girl, a good woman.
Nah,
You talking down to
I'm
her.
misogynistic. I'm a Republican. That's a good girl right there. Yeah.